All right, here we go with After Party number 152. Actually,
No.
52.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
What?
We're only on episode 158. How?
Have I been in cryo sleep?
You guys are like, wow, really? I guess I'll just accept it.
It feels like 152, doesn't it?
Yeah. So After Party 152.
Come on.
Where we're talking about episodes 156, Crowded with Corpses, 157, Meaning of a Chase, I like that one, 158, Two Truths and a Lie.
Yeah, I botched that one up. Pretty good.
Yeah, we'll get there, I'm sure. So Crowded with Corpses.
Yeah.
Mm.
Good band name.
That is a good band name.
Yeah. What genre do you think they'd be?
Metal.
Heavy metal.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean...
You can have corpses in the title of a jazz band, alright?
Blues, maybe?
If you like put a little accent on the E, you could.
Corpses.
Yes.
Yeah.
You need, if it's metal, it's got to be umlauts.
It's true.
As he's wearing an Iron Maiden
You
shirt.
need to get a Viking in there
That's right.
somewhere as well.
So where'd we start out on 156?
We were kind of giving Shaft a barking stone and a lock of hair and stuff like that, you know.
We were invisible and infiltrating the den.
I have to say, I love it when we're all invisible. And we're trying to do things like
You
hand
can
stuff
never
to each
remember we're
other.
invisible.
I look at where I believe Falzarin is.
Yeah. Yeah, you kind of forget how difficult that would really be.
It feels like stone, but looks like hair, and it's like, well, it doesn't look like anything.
Well, that was an interesting little conversation we had there before heading down the dark hallway to the danger.
We let you do your thing, you know?
Yeah. I
That's
mean,
what you're good at.
You did hand me a lot of stuff to carry with me just to make me
Two
feel more
things.
comfortable.
Just two things.
Yeah, so we sort of went down through the room to try to find out who was being held captive. I think I almost feel bad that when we do pass without a trace. And
Yeah, like 35 on your stealth.
I sort of feel like just, we can hand wave the walking to the thing.
Plus, you can walk between their legs, apparently, or whatever, the medium creature. Like, it's pretty
I didn't know
unfair.
that was a thing. And,
That's
and,
really
like,
cool.
When John suggested his plan, I was like, "There's no way this is gonna work. This is absurd." But also, I mean, like you said, pass without a trace makes anything like that kind of a joke, especially when you're invisible. On top of that,
Well, invisibility gives you advantage on the rolls,
right? So you have advantage plus pass without a trace.
Plus
So it's
10,
like,
yeah.
come on.
Well, the way we play it, invisibility gives you advantage, but rules is written,
Oh.
invisibility doesn't give you advantage automatically.
What's it do?
All it does is allow you to hide in plain sight, like to take the hide
Oh.
action. Yeah,
Really?
But, yeah, technically.
So you're just screwing our rules up forever. This is the only thing I've ever known.
I didn't realize that was a side roll we came up with. I always thought it was what it was.
It wasn't nothing that we actually discussed and was as a variant. It was just like we just played it that way, and it's such just not how we.
Well, maybe I played it wrong and we just said it.
No, but I mean that's always been the way I've done it too. I mean, I always
okay.
just thought that kind of makes sense.
For sure.
Yeah,
Like, if armor gives you disadvantage, invisibility gives you advantage. Like, come on.
you'd think, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's just because like you when you think about it, it's like you're very focused on the visual sensory, right? Where just because you're invisible doesn't mean your armor is any less clanky, right?
Mm-hmm.
That kind of stuff. So it rules is written when it allows you to hide in like a lit open room because you're invisible. You can take the hide action and try to be undetected that way. Because I suppose the hide action also infers being as quiet as possible, which also a stealth check does too, right? But I don't know. Whatever. It is what it is.
Yeah, I can see that perspective. Like the being invisible doesn't necessarily make you quiet, and being stealthy and sneaky is largely. I mean, there's the visual part of it, but there's also the noise part of it.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about the way, I mean, like this kind of the corridors that you were all creeping down, right? And you don't have the line of sight on every corner and around every corner and or on the other side of every door, closed door. So, but what can permeate is, of course, noise in a stone long hallway. I think really the
Whispers.
noise, right? Whispers should have maybe carried a little better, but
You talk about shatter? Psh.
Yep, so we made it over in there, found out it was Braun that was being held captive. Little anti-magic field thing going on in there. We had Hannah in the room and some, six-fingered Studley guy statue.
Six fingers.
And six-toed.
And six toes. Don't forget the toes.
You know what
And
I'm
backward
saying?
knees.
Yeah, backwards knees.
Does that get you going, Emily?
The things that he
Backwards
can do
knees.
with those backwards
Oh,
knees, let me
gosh.
tell you.
No.
When
Oh.
Leland described that Hannah looked sleeping if we didn't know that we had murdered her, I was like, oh crap, she's like alive again or something. Like, I was so nervous.
Well, that's why I went over to make sure. I was like, wanted to make sure they didn't revive her somehow.
Yeah, that's what I was worried about as well.
So I got a question. Why the anti-magic field in an area where there's a lesser demon being praised
I don't know.
to? Is it because if some shit goes down that you don't want it to go down, you can have some protection?
well, also in that area were prison cells. So what other extra
Oh,
way to
yeah.
keep? Otherwise, I mean, Braun could have gotten his way out of there if he had all of his abilities. Also, I don't know if Mia or I don't know if Elena or any of the rest of you kind of picked up on that, but when you tried to scry that second time on Braun and it failed, that's why it failed, because
I
he
had a
was-
feeling. Yep.
Right, yeah.
So like the Niyogi too, trying to mind control, that sort of stuff, like protects them.
Well, I mean, they do have magical capabilities. Their mind control isn't.
Isn't it a spell?
No, it's not a spell.
Okay.
So whether that would still work in an anti-magic field has yet to be tested. But I will say that your circlets would not function in an anti-magic field.
No.
So I'm not sure you would want to try to test both theories at the same
same
time.
Sounds dangerous.
Hmm.
Hmm.
So what do you think was going on with Hannah? What do you think? They just laying her to the rest? And
I got the impression, that it was less like they weren't trying to perform a ritual that had an expected outcome or anything like that. It was more so just like
Funeral?
paying their respects type thing, and they happened to say some sort of like chanty prayer or something or other.
Yeah, it was like a wake. May the road rise up to meet you, but not Niyogi. Jackal-ware style. Prince of Darkness. I don't know. I'm very confused. I mean, we'll get there. I don't know what she wanted with me. Elena has no idea. So therefore, Mia has no idea. So, I don't know why Braun's in there.
they had this Niyogi splayed out on the table there. What do you think?
Yeah,
that's
what
all
was the
about?
deal with that?
That makes a little bit of sense. Think about how many, like, the libraries of Heraklion had very little information about Niyogi. So, like, potentially they're just looking for answers, looking for, you know what I mean? Just, like, studying, sort of learning what they're dealing with. I don't know.
So you think Hannah was on the side of the Niyogi, or she was just being?
I think Hannah's on Hannah's side
Yeah, she definitely was working with them, though. Like,
because it benefited her.
yeah. But then maybe when it didn't, or it was starting to annoy her, right? Because the Darklings are all gone and they were her, like, minions, right? She's like, let me learn how to conquer these guys and flayed one out. I don't know.
Well, what do you know about Hannah's interactions with the Niyogi to date? What have you learned about that?
Maybe it ate like one of her necklaces or something.
Yeah. They ate an amulet.
That tracks. That's a good theory.
The only thing we know about her interactions with Niyogi is that
She was supplying
had
them.
a deal with them, supplying them. Well, originally supplying with some other people, and then with the Darklings to stay out of her area. I think I don't know what she was getting. In
I
return.
believe it turned into Darklings. Yeah, I don't know.
But what was she getting in return?
Maybe just a
Leaving her
promise
alone?
that they'd leave her alone. Yeah, who knows? Maybe there wasn't actually like
I
any.
would think she'd want more than that.
Yeah, that's true. She was a pretty powerful, like, crime lord or whatever, mob boss, whatever you want to classify her as.
Yeah, I
I
don't
have a
know.
splinter in my hand.
I think I have one in mind too. It's hard. I can't see anything.
You guys
but
been shaking
Now that
hands?
you've replied to this, it has to stay into the after party. Great.
there's this little mark on my finger that hurts and it's red, but
Yeah, right there on my hand.
yeah.
Anyway,
Both of us should take tomorrow off of work.
maybe we
Emily.
should dissect you too. Figure it out.
Oh, but I didn't need any necklaces.
Oh my gosh, let's not even go.
Bill, just don't taunt me like that.
Just.
You're not gonna trick me into sifting through your shit again, Bill. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice.
I like how weary Falzarin was of this magic field. Like he wouldn't put it in his bag with his
Oh,
books
yeah.
and stuff.
Oh,
I was
I
like,
think he's cautious, yeah.
it makes sense. And then he's like failing on checks and he's like, I'm not used to carrying these books.
Hey, I've already had to destroy one bag of holding. Okay, I don't want to lose another.
So I noticed a bit of confusion. That's something I didn't want to clear up because I think this has been pretty well explained by incremental details kind of gained throughout the campaign. But
So therefore, we completely missed it.
well,
As
there was a point where you were asking there was a point right before the jackals kind of lured the Nyogi closer in to pincer them basically in the little hallway, right? You kind of asked if the jackals had tattoos on them after, it seemed things had gotten quiet, and Shakara had kind of posited that, well, maybe the Nyogi, they're starting to enslave them kind of thing. So it has been explained, and as you've inspected dead creatures with tattoos, that the tattoo is just a normal ink tattoo. There's nothing magical about the tattoo itself. So how do you, what are you thinking when someone gets mind controlled, right? Like the tattoo, my point is the tattoo doesn't just magically appear. It's actually applied like a normal tattoo would be.
Okay.
So in case that wasn't clear, right?
So as soon as they're mind controlled, some tattoo doesn't just magically appear.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
exactly my
now,
point. Yeah.
I think I knew that, but then also I expected it to magically appear still.
It's like the Nyogi are taking them out and getting them drunk, and then they get a tattoo, right?
Right,
Yeah.
yeah, they get a
Yeah.
mom tattoo on their right shoulder.
Well, and again, jackal wares obviously can have a humanoid form too, or whatever. So it's maybe the humanoid has a tattoo. I don't know.
No, that kind of makes sense too. But I just wanted to clear that because you've investigated and have uncovered that. Obviously you don't know what the exact process is of the application.
It's like one of those stickers that you have to have a wet sponge.
That's right.
Hannah
It's just a
tat-
temporary,
Hannah tattoo.
it's a temporary tattoo that the Nyogi carry them around with them just in case.
They've got the temp.
They have
Here,
pockets.
hold this on your head with a sponge for a while.
Do you have a washcloth? We do know, because when I met Horik, at least in my backstory, you can still have the tattoo remains even if you're not mind controlled.
Because they haven't invented laser removal yet.
Yes. So again, the tattoo doesn't mean they for sure are, just likely.
And just the lack of a tattoo doesn't mean they for sure aren't.
Exactly. Yeah.
Did anyone, Leland asked, I'm not sure anyone answered the question Leland asked about what we know about Hannah's interactions with the Nyogi.
Emily and I did.
What was the answer?
She was
Not
supplying
much.
them.
So Joel, I'm going to clearly lay out what you all have.
Yes, please. If you could bullet point the points, that's helpful for me
And
as
this
well.
is all from Jolvi, right? Because again, Hannah is dead. You never had a chance to speak to Hannah about this deal that you've learned of after her death, right? From Jolvi. But Jolvi has said that the Darklings the Darklings have always worked for Hannah. Even before Nyogi were involved, whatever Hannah's association with the Nyogi are, the Darklings were basically Hannah's like workforce, kind of, for lack of a better
I
term.
like to
right?
call them minions because they're little.
Minions. I like it. Okay, so think of that.
So
Then the
cute.
Neogi come along, and Jolvia says, well, she had her minions start providing the Neogi with people.
And that's how we got captured in the beginning.
Right, exactly. And you ended up in a Neogi wagon, about almost got shipped off up into the mountains. And then things progressed, and Hannah offered the Neogi her minions. And right, so there's this, clearly there is this growing demand that, you know, on the Neogi side, and Hannah has up until this point continued to placate, basically, right?
Yeah, even at the expense of losing her minions, which makes me think that there's a bit of fear on Hannah's side, unless she's getting something fantastic in return.
And what that may or may not be, you've seen no evidence of, or I mean, and Jolvi had no idea either, right?
Mm-hmm.
So then there was we're jumping a little bit ahead to 158 with Mia's solo drunk conversation with Braun.
If she wants me.
Braun had posited, well, if Hannah would give the Darklings to the Neogi, what else would she give them?
Yeah. I don't know. And she wanted me, and they want me, and I don't know why.
Seems bad.
Mm-hmm.
And now you stumbled upon some type of breakdown in relations, because, I mean, the Jackalware are also Hannah's minions. Maybe a different sect of minion, but clearly still very closely associated with Hannah. And obviously, from seeing the little prayer or memorial or funeral, or whatever you want to call it, at the statue with her body, they're very close. Like they hold Hannah in a very high regard. And there was also a little bit that Braun was able to recall with Mia in 158 about Gratz, which was the figure of the statue was depicting. And, you know, the hierarchy under Gratz, basically, you know, Gratz, then Hannah is one of many chosen, and of course under Hannah are the Jackalwares. So there's like this hierarchy of you know, a tiered system, a pyramid system for Gratz, with the Jackal at the bottom, Jackalware at the bottom, and now the Darklings may be below them on the very base of the pyramid, but no longer there. And now the pyramid's starting to crumble, because now Hannah's gone, and you've seen this breakdown in relations between the Jackalware and the Neogi here that you've stumbled in, right? So I wanted to ask you another question too. Maybe I can save that if we had more to talk about for 156. But did you all find it interesting just kind of being outside of observers of the fight between the Otyugh and the Neogi and the Jackalware?
Yes.
Yeah.
We kind of, like, I followed Shakara's lead. Like, I was like, oh, they're just destroying each other. Let's let them fight.
Yeah. I'd probably prefer it if all the fights moving forward were like that.
So all the bad guys just take themselves out. You know, we'll just stand back and pick up the stragglers.
We're like little invisible, pass without a trace voyeur people that are just sort of looking at everybody else doing things. That sounds like a great plan. Great for a podcast.
I thought it was an interesting situation, because I felt like, okay, when do we step in here? Like, you know, I don't know. It presented in a sort of unusual choice that you don't usually have to make in D&D, or I don't know that we've ever had to make before. Like, both of our enemies are killing each other, but we probably should step in at some point, because
Let them kill one of them, and then they're weakened and they're hurting, and then we kill them. Easier. Boom.
I would have probably let it go a couple more rounds.
I would have too, but I was following Shakara's lead. So I think Mia would have just been like, all right, we're doing this, and like throwing her hammer like she did. So
I was afraid that if the Otyugh defeated all the Jackals and it was us against it would have a better advantage and potentially could really do some damage to one of us. So if we attacked it while it was still defending itself against the Jackals might not attack us. They might continue attacking it.
yeah.
Thinking that maybe we were on their side. And then we could all take down the stronger thing together. And then we could easily wipe out the Jackals that were left.
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
But it worked out well in the end.
Overall,
For us.
it was a fun that was a fun encounter. I enjoyed running around and exploring this area while also like fighting and running from the Neogi and that whole situation.
What, the chase, you mean? Or are we
yeah,
still
are we moving
talking
on?
about
Yeah,
the...
what are we doing?
Yeah, I guess I'm kind of bundling them all together, but
Yeah.
I consider these whole like tunnels as sort of one big encounter, if that makes sense.
To be honest, I was pretty afraid we were going to get in there. There was going to be empty prison cells, and he wasn't going to give us Braun or my dad or whoever. And I was going to be like, great.
That would have been mean, honestly.
I mean, there's a chance that like from the beginning you knew where he was and he's not there or something. So I mean, who knows?
That's true.
Yeah.
I mean, what if he was just like upstairs and you?
Yeah.
I mean, you all kind of beelined downstairs. He's just like up at the bar having a drink.
And that's where Mia wanted to, when we had the miscommunication in the previous episode, Mia was like, we probably should check through the palace's rooms. He's like, no, if there was a prisoner, they'd be for sure down here. It's like, okay, I'll follow Shaft. But I was like, he could be in the S&M room just bound up somewhere, you know?
Just forgot about after you killed Hannah. She was the only one that knew he was there.
He was
and
tied
just,
up. Yeah.
Hello. He's got a ball gag in his mouth.
He requested the hardcore S&M room, and that's where he went
But
down
like,
there.
who knows when I come back? Yeah.
Right. Braun doesn't have a safe word. Well, I mean, you made out with the anti-magic device, which you learn about its abilities in the following episode. It's cool. I hope you can figure out how to utilize it in interesting ways.
Yeah, I think the biggest downside is just that it's so stinking huge.
Yeah, and it is damaged, which remind me to give you how much HP and its AC. I forgot to give that to you, but
Yeah, I pumped a couple arrows into it because I was going to turn it off.
yeah,
And then I thought,
okay.
this is pretty powerful. What am I doing?
Yeah, think of if your arrow went right through to the eyeball.
But luckily you could close it off, because if you didn't have a way to close it off, then there'd
You'd
just be
never
another
have
way to
magic
kill
ever
Falzarin
again.
easier.
Yeah.
it would be unusable for the party.
Here, Falzarin, carry this
I mean,
around.
you all have magic that you use. It would shut off all your magic, right? Like,
That's right.
Yeah.
so, but the interesting thing about that, though, is even if you made it, if you put it in like position 2 or whatever one it was that made the cube originating from it, and you were standing behind it, like you can't shoot magic into the field, right? So any spells you cast to try to hurt somebody inside of that field will not hit the person. So the field even protects them. Like it can shut down a caster. I mean, if you had this against Alardo, like it would have been a joke, right? You would have shut him right down.
It's more defensive.
Sword still works.
It's defensive like Beholder, right?
Sword still works, but it would be a normal sword.
Still sharp.
Spoken
Still
like
cut
Shikara.
Well, I mean, I think you'd be pretty disappointed. You're walking around with your little dark paladin blade that does a D8 because it's a broadsword or whatever instead of a 4D6, right?
It's a whole 2D6. Thank you very much.
Oh, my apologies.
I didn't like, I mean, if we're going to kind of move on to like the battles fought, we got to get Braun out of here. I didn't like being the one in front deciding which way to go.
Why?
It's really hard. Like, we're looking at a map on Roll20, everyone, and like, listener, Braun and I are up ahead, like, one action almost ahead of everyone. It's like, do you go right or left? Go left and we run into this wall stairs thing. Okay, so then go right, and then we run into barricade. I don't know. I didn't like that, because in
You had to make the
roleplay,
decision?
yeah, like you and John, and like in general, you guys could be like, you should do this, but like in roleplay, we're trying to stick pretty true, and we weren't metagamey, and it's like up to me, what would Mia do, and it's just like a lot to think about, and I wasn't even taking a turn or using spells. I just like every turn was like right or left, flip a coin. I don't know, like
Yeah.
I don't know. It got stressful for me.
Why, Elena, why did Mia think that Braun would have extra knowledge about these tunnels? Because you asked him a couple times.
I don't know. Maybe I thought he was like dragged down into them, or like I didn't really know why he was in Drukal till after the whole thing, and I asked him, so I didn't really know how he ended up in there. So I thought maybe he came in and got caught, or like I didn't know. I don't know.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. Like, yeah, because I actually didn't really think about that, because that's a good point. Because I'm like, obviously, like, what do you mean? You came down the spiral staircase from the club? Like, clearly
That's
how
not
he came in.
necessarily
That's what I
how
was
he
thinking.
came in though. So I was
Yeah,
like, I
no,
don't know.
that totally makes sense.
Like if he was brought in by Darklings, for sure he wouldn't have gone in through the club. So I don't know.
Yeah.
They would have
I
used the
mean,
tunnels.
the timeline on like when
Well, and I don't know when
the
that happened.
Darklings got, yeah, right, exactly. Although though, like you were in, it's been within a couple of weeks, because it happened very quickly, obviously, because
Right.
the last time the party was in Drukal, the Darklings were in operation.
Yeah. And like it was long enough that he lost track of time. And then until I knew him and Shaft knew each other, like Shaft might actually know when that was, but he's kind of been in this isolation, solitary sort of thing where he's lost track of time. So, I don't know. Apparently he looks bad, so that's not cool. But I made the decision because we had like broken our play sessions up where we started the chase in a new play session as a group, right? I think. And I was like, I made the decision I was going to use my heal spell on him no matter what. Like, no matter what he looked like. He's my brother. I'm going to use like my new high level spell to give him like 70 hit points or something.
Yeah, that's wild. That's an impressive spell.
Well, and I think it's because I had the spell slot because I didn't do the feast. And so then later I'm like, remind me to do the feast.
Don't forget to do that
I
next
know.
morning.
Oh, yeah.
And then, yeah, I mean, I guess Shakara had a point too, like, or Emily maybe even it was. Just like, Shatter is really loud and bringing attention. But I was like, so pissed off to see my first Nyogi in how many months as Mia that I just like obliterated it. Like I picture a Nyogi in the microwave exploding type thing from the vibrations.
Ew.
I really like just picturing Shakara and like Shaft braced against the door, and the Jackal is like trying to claw into it from the other side.
Yeah.
That door thing was cool. Like I thought that was an interesting way to roleplay that situation for sure.
Yeah, it was good. I mean, I think Emily was a little disappointed with the latter half of effect of Hex.
Yeah, let's talk about
Yeah.
Hex.
Yeah,
Let's
so
talk about Hex.
Let's talk about
Hex should not
baby.
be used the way I used it.
Let's talk about
It was
you.
not effective. Hex is for more when you have somebody in your sight, you're going to attack that one person until they're dead, because you get to do extra
Like
damage.
Isabella, save that. Let's go.
Oh, I can do it again. It's not a one-time and done thing. I can do hexes.
Izzy, let's get her. Let's go.
Shakara can do Hex.
She can have
So
Hex anytime that she wants. I can have Hex anytime that she wants.
And I have Hex however I want, with whoever I want, whenever I want.
so as a Hex blood, Emily gets basically a free Hex a day, but you can also spend slots on it too, right?
Yeah.
So you get the free one a day, and also Hex is akin to Hunter's Mark, where you get the extra damage, and if that hexed or Hunter's Marked person dies, you can use your bonus action to move it to another target. Assuming, and this happened to me in a last play, when I was playing Baby Izzy in the Strahd campaign, I hexed a thing and killed it in the same round, so I couldn't switch it because I had already bonus action for the hex, and I couldn't move it because I didn't have the bonus action to move the fucking thing.
So then you lost the
So
spell
I lost.
slot,
I used my free one because she's a warlock, and I'm not burning one of my 2 slots on a hex. Thank you very much. But so the latter half of hex is of course giving them disadvantage on a skill check with an associated ability, which obviously doesn't mean saving throws. But I do think in that instance, like if things were a little different, you hex the Jackal on the other side and give them disadvantage on strength skill checks that's trying to bust the door down. That's real good. Because even in that same situation, if you gave the one you saw, which would have been the one at the front, disadvantage, the people behind them basically kind of doing the same thing that Shav was doing for Shakar would have been essentially giving help, because I'm only doing one roll to push the door down, right? So it boils it down. So that would have just made that advantage into a normal roll versus your advantage, which is also pretty good. But I mean, ultimately, you didn't end up holding the door for very much longer after you put the hex on the guy, right?
Right.
I was trying to get everybody far enough away so then when we dropped the door, we could run, and then Falzarin could lay some, some kind of because you're in a hallway, right? If we had like wall of fire that you could shoot down the middle of the thing, you're going to take a ton of damage as they're trying to get to you. So the idea was to run away and then have them have to fight through things. Like we did with Wind Wall, and I think you did Gravity.
Falzarin,
Gravity
unfortunately,
sinkhole.
Sinkhole.
doesn't really have anything like that, actually.
But you did Fireball. Gravity sinkhole.
Fireball, yeah, I don't have like a straight line effect spell. The other thing I was thinking is I could have thrown up a Wall of Force. It's a high level spell to burn, but they're stuck. They're not getting through.
That completely would have stuck them for sure. Yeah.
You got like a 10-foot hallway. If you shot it right down the middle, then they can't go within 5 feet on either side, right? Is that the way that works? Or is it's 5 foot on one side?
Well, the Wall of Force itself, you can make the Wall of Force huge, but you can just Wall of Force and block the whole.
Block
from
everything
floor
off.
to
Yeah.
ceiling. Yeah. That would have been dope.
I mean, you would have had. So had you done that, what would have alternatively happened is instead of the Neogi hitting the Jackalwares and fighting the Jackalwares and stopping while you ran away, they would have been pursuing the Nogi would have been pursuing you, right?
Mm-hmm.
So who knows how that would have played out too? It could have been different.
Yeah.
I prefer Jackalwares pursuing us.
Yes.
Less
Yeah,
mind
better.
controlness.
That's the thought.
They're much less mind control-y, that's for sure.
Yeah. I don't think the Jackalwares had any magic ability either, did they? Other than being able to change shape. They couldn't cast spells.
They didn't display anything like that. Yeah, exactly.
They didn't display anything like that, he says.
Such a non-answer of an answer.
They were clawing in the theater, I think, when they knocked me out.
Leland should be a lawyer or something.
Not that you saw. Allegedly.
Maybe we'll never fight Jackaware ever again, and you'll never know. Britt kind of asked if I was satisfied with how this chase/semi-chase went, and I think it was really fun playing it, and I think it edited down to sound pretty good too. Not quite as intense as maybe it felt when we were playing. I think because the problem with what we were really doing is you were running through a maze, essentially. That's obviously very visual. That's very difficult to describe in the podcast medium, so it doesn't become monotonous. Well, 20 feet down to the right and then 20 feet down another straight passageway to take a left for another 40 feet. And then I'm going to run right, and I've come to a set of stairs that I will descend. If
I'm
I
on
can
the
make
edge of
my
my seat right now.
I do feel like we tried really hard to describe what we were doing. I think we did good with that. However, it was visually just like so daunting. Like I said, that's what I didn't like. I'm like looking at this like, crap, it goes this way, it could go this way. What if that makes a loop and I waste my time and my movement? Like,
Right, because there was fog of war. We didn't see the whole map.
Right. You only saw it to the limit of your dark vision for whomever, which happened to be Mia, who was out in front. I guess the kind of plus, though, maybe that it factored in, which listening back and editing it, it's hard for me to assess because obviously I created the map and we played with the map and I can picture the map as we're playing it, almost like as I'm editing, I can literally picture the map in my head and with your tokens and where everyone is as things are playing out. But I hope that even like without the map, that maybe listening to it purposefully, the listener can be a little disoriented because that must be how it felt for your characters running through this maze of tunnels, right? Like you don't know the way out. I mean, Mia picked a direction and went there, right? Like,
and then turned around.
Well, yeah, you did. I made a very large map with a number of other things that had you went in different directions, you would have uncovered different types of information as far as what's going on down there.
You revealed it to us after, and we were like, what? We could have gone on forever.
Well, even you could have went any direction. I needed to have something, right?
We got pretty fortunate, actually, that the place that Mia decided to smash through was like one of the best places we could have broken through, actually.
Yeah, because it had surface access kind of literally right there, which not all the places had. So yeah, that was very fortunate.
There were 3 ladders or something, and then there were other bad guys and stuff too. It was like, oh man.
Yeah, they were closing in pretty quickly. Because again, I hope that kind of portrays how infested these tunnels are. Because this was only a small section of tunnels that run under the whole city.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's bad.
So the concept of the chase, which as soon as you mentioned it, I wanted to do it.
Yeah, you said, I mean, we could take them, but chase scene.
So my thought being is how would this work? But with getting the exhaustion sounds like fun. But I also wanted to play what the character would do. You're going to get so far, and if you think you can turn and take a few of them out, right? That you lure them as far as you can and turn around and pump arrows into them or spells or whatever. But then after we went through like 3 rounds, I kept thinking this is just like a fight scene that I don't have to worry about opportunity attacks.
Exactly.
Yes. And that's why I sort of changed it part of the way through and said, I'm just going to dash because I wanted to get some exhaustion in to make it at least feel more like this was happening. Because I don't think it was playing out the way we weren't letting it play out the way the chase was supposed to be. The cars going through the city, and you're trying to get away and you're jumping over bridges and all that kind of stuff. That wasn't happening. It was run a little bit, turn around, bam, bam, bam.
I think you and Shakara for sure. Like, me and Braun were pretty much dash, 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 just looking for a way out.
I think the whole concept's great. And I think Shakara and I think we were doing well enough to kill enough of them that our thought process was, wait, let's kill a few before we run 25 feet.
Let's give Mia or whoever is in lead the opportunity to find us a way out of here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's where
Exactly.
I was like, I have this spell, and like wishing I was in the back sort of holding them up. That thought kept happening, but it like story-wise makes sense. Like I've got Braun, and of course I'm like, don't leave Braun, and then Shaft leaves Braun. But, well...
So, okay.
What?
We'll never leave Braun.
I agree with everything you said, John. I agree that the conceptually a chase sounds great. This is not the first chase I've tried to run. This is by far the most successful one that I run, and I'm not sure if I don't know why, but my thought on it is the chase rules in general. Again, they're very big. I mean, there's like 2 differences. And I have a couple things to say about that. The exhaustion thing in the dashing, the limited dashes is interesting. I do like that concept, but would that not also be interesting to apply to every combat?
Yeah.
Because what's the difference? Like it doesn't feel like there's anything different. And the other thing is, to me, the chase rules as written read as the party and the PCs being the chaser, not the chasee.
Ah.
Huh.
And that, I believe, is why it felt the way it did. Because if you were pursuing someone else through these tunnels, then all the complications. So in the Dungeon Master's Guide, part of the rule set there, that gives you like complication tables to roll on, depending on the setting. If you're running through a busy market, and there's wagons that are coming across the road, and people walking with panes of glass that you smashed. The typical stereotypical bullshit, right? So the complications put in were like the barricades and running down the steps that were meant for people shaft size. Like those were my versions of the complications, right? Things to slow you up and trip you up and that kind of stuff. And I think if you were the ones that were chasing the Nyogi through these tunnels, it would have actually felt like a chase. So
Yeah,
that
right.
I believe is literally the difference, is just because if the roles were swapped, it would have played out how you imagine and how you think a chase should feel more so than what we did.
Yeah. Being a pursuer is a whole different thing, right? If they're getting 60 feet ahead of us, you'd have to continue or you're going to lose them. And then with my con, I think I had 4 times I could
like
dash.
8.
Yeah.
I had 6, I think.
Well, and with 25 feet with little legs, I'm never going to catch them, right?
See, that's also the other thing about chases, and I think it kind of briefly lays out in the DMG, like, a faster creature is always going to outpace a slower creature. So that's why you put in the complications to actually make it interesting. Because otherwise you're just sprinting down tunnels, and whoever's fastest is just going to be out in
highest
out
constitution
in the lead, right?
wins, right?
Yeah.
And then obviously the third complication in addition to the barricades and the dipping stairs, were just the Neogi themselves, the infested tunnels, where you make enough noise and you spend enough time down there, enough rounds go by, well, down this other corridor that you may or may not have started down, enemies are going to be on you.
I'm curious to know from your perspective, and Dave even commented on this with like the every 5 seconds you mention the sewer smell type thing. From your perspective of designing this and knowing exactly what's happening, did it go on longer than you thought it would till we discovered the sewers were adjacent sort of thing?
Yes.
To even listening because listening to it back, it's like he's trying to tell us something. You should pay attention.
It's so obvious.
And I think we were also in the game. Like, what is he saying? He's saying something. But then you, Leland, asked for the survival checks. We didn't ask for it. You did. So you must have hit a point where you're like, I gotta give them something more. They're so stupid.
Yeah. So designing this encounter was a little risky. So there's a number of things. One, we saw play out that and honestly though, like, it's not much of a hint. It's like I am just narrating what you are seeing and smelling and all your senses. I just have to give the same narration for every character. And eventually all of your characters did go to the stairs. So I think that also exacerbated like how much it sounded like I was trying to throw it in your face.
Yeah.
And I did my best of trying to just narrate it as neutrally as I did the first time versus the seventh time.
And it was. But at a certain point, you must have gotten a little annoyed, like, okay. And you gave us, like, can you do a survival check?
So yes, I did my best to try to judge the pacing of what had happened so far. And we had already had a couple instances of additional enemies coming in and putting pressure on you. I thought a third and then potentially a fourth, depending on how long it goes, instance was not going to add much narratively to the chase scene, quote unquote chase scene that we were playing out. So yes, I asked for some rolls. And also, so I know we had kind of said off mic, both Emily and Elena had said, well, I didn't really picture it as being the like semicircular tunnel thing that it ended up being. And that's not what I was pitching either. When you asked me if it was, I said yes, because I knew it would help you better visualize what you needed to do.
Okay.
Because that's not what I had originally. I basically had like, picture a hallway, a stone hallway, and the stairs burrowed under it. So you still have this rectangular stone structure that you're just... the stairs are just... That's what I had in my head. And so I mean, it helped you get to where you needed to go, but also it kind of was like, well, if I had described that right at the beginning, then things would have been totally different, right?
Maybe. I don't know. It's hard to say in hindsight. Like, it's so obvious in hindsight, but it was not clicking.
I will
for
say
me
that
in the moment.
so I ran into the first one. Like, I took a left and I ran into the first one. And it was sort of described as like going underneath what seemed like maybe a wall or something, like a wall of stone or something like that. And I was like, okay, so maybe I'm like exiting the perimeter of the Pussycat Palace. Like it's the foundations or something.
Oh, okay.
So but then it continually happened. The barricades make sense because Darklings at some point, or Hannah, like put them up defensively, I'm assuming. Or the Jackal wares. But then when it continued to happen and every time was sewer, I think I suspected sooner, but was like looking for maybe a manhole or an opening or something. But also didn't ask to check, so that's my bad as well. So,
well, and you know what? When you ultimately did, you rolled a 13 on your investigation check. The DC was 15 to find the trapdoor. So I'm like, oh fuck! And I gave you advantage too. I gave you advantage on it too. And I was like, damn it, she didn't get it. Now what?
Well, now I just like shatter the crap out of it and see what happens.
Well, and I was like, yes, thank you, like heavy fisted Mia. Thank you for checking.
It's also what made it exciting though.
Well, okay, good. I'm glad, because I mean it was awesome. You just blew it open to get to the escape.
Yeah, and like we ended the session with like finding the ladder, and like Bill and I did go to bed that night. Like, how are we gonna sleep? It felt so exciting. We were so awake. There was adrenaline. It was a really, really interesting, puzzly sort of feeling that we had to get through that. Like, honestly, good job.
No, I had a lot of fun running. That was very fun to play. And I'm glad it felt like that for all of you.
I felt dumb after figuring it out, but I guess technically I'm the smart one and I'm willing to take credit right now. So thank you guys.
You're the smartest of us idiots.
So I had
The smartest
two,
among fools.
two more notes on how risky the encounter was. This episode could have been 20 minutes because if you had just found on the first stairs investigated, well, you would have got right out, right? And also if Falzarin had remembered that Bill had remembered that Falzarin has a wand of secrets. You tap that around any of the stairs, you find it immediately as well.
Well, you knew that wasn't going to happen.
No, I did know. Yeah, I could basically count on that not happening.
He
Two
forgets he
problems
has
with
it,
that
okay?
plan, Leland. Two problems with that plan. One, it relies on Bill figuring out that there's something he needs to figure out. And two, it relies on Bill remembering that he's got the wand of
I
secrets.
forget that you have it, but if you were to be like, I wonder, like, even to say something, we'd be like, use it, but we forget you have it.
Stuck down in his bag of holding.
Yeah,
Hidden.
somewhere in there, underneath the
books.
antimatter
It's
and
in
the
the
books
regular
and
sack.
He knows every single book he has, even the little pamphlets and leaflets. He knows.
He's
them
got so
all.
many sacks.
What?
Too many
No.
sacks, honestly.
The books are in my non-magical bag, remember?
Oh, so sorry.
They are now. Yeah.
Yeah, Falzarin has, like, you know, when you enter a new city in the tourism place, you have the billboard with the pamphlets of what you can do. He's got, like, one of those from every city he's been to now after leaving Heraklion. So the other thing we kind of chatted and I had a thought about after the fact is, now obviously you had Bronn with you, so that means this wouldn't have worked, but Falzarin could theoretically dimension door the whole party out anywhere. By slapping the shackles onto Falsey's forearm, he DDs out with Shakara, and Shaft and Mia go to the shackles. Boom, you got a four-person dimension
Four-person
door.
teleport. Yeah,
Yeah,
or whatever.
yeah.
Well, son of a bitch. I didn't think about
We
that.
did talk about it after. Yeah.
That's like
Yeah. It's powerful.
Brilliant use
It's
of
called
those
the
shackles.
Screw Shakara.
You leave me behind again?
No,
Falzarin
Falzarin
took me
takes
with
you.
him.
Yeah, Falzarin
Yeah.
takes Shakara.
But what about Bronn?
Well, that's what I mean. In this particular instance, like you would, you draw short straw stays behind.
You leave me behind again, I become part Nyogi.
Yeah. Shakara's final form.
Well, I felt pretty good that we at least figured that out. And, yeah, I mean, there wasn't any ruckus with us coming up in the street, so that's good.
Why didn't the Nyogi follow us out?
I don't think they want
It's not like they're
people
vampires.
in the city knowing they're there yet.
That was a hint towards something that I just don't know.
Right?
We know there's something. We're just not picking up on it.
They melt in the sun. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know.
People of Drukal don't know that they're down there.
Have I seen a Nyogi in the sun?
Yes,
I have?
when they attack the tower.
Okay, so then for sure it's not like they're vampires.
They're not vampires.
No, it's not some type of sunlight sensitivity or aversion. No.
But what difference would it make if the people of Drukal did know?
I don't know.
Oh, there's a
Mass
plan,
chaos,
apparently.
Hysteria.
I mean, they like to stay underground anyway, right? They're got tunnel burrowers. They're trying to stay hidden for a reason.
But I wonder, do they like to stay underground because that's like their preferred habitat, or is it a more intelligent, like it's strategic? You know what I mean?
I don't know. I don't know a lot of things. I don't know why Hannah wanted me. I don't know.
So we're not like Tyrion Lannister. We don't drink and know things. We just drink.
Well, Mia doesn't, but you guys do.
Mia's whole thing, right? The hammer, the Thor, the whole
The
Nyogi
whole
and all
thing.
that thing.
Okay, yeah.
Your whole backstory all relies around this happening that happened to you. So there must be some link with the Nyogi that wants something to do with your power, or they are trying to somehow be part of get
that
part
I was
of
like
that.
born on that day, and then I ran into him on that day. That whole thing. Yeah.
There's more to it, and they somebody's the Nyogi's talking with Hannah, and Hannah put out a bounty.
Well, Bronn can't believe that one Nyogi didn't stay true to his word and protect Beric.
No, it was more that Bronn was like, you gave your word. You assured the town, Mia Brightwood, that the town would remain safe based on your interaction with the Nyogi and you taking the Nyogi at
Oh,
each
so it's
sword.
my fault. Okay, all right.
I'm not saying it's your fault. I'm just saying that was more Braun's
But it's your
reaction.
fault.
But it's
He was like, well, you. This
you
is
told
what
us you
have
were
said.
safe. Yeah, I was 19 and naive, and now I'm 20 and level 11. So suck it. It was kind of fun to be like, so that's a long story, and that's a long story. I thought for sure Shaft was pretending to drink so that he could, I don't know, do something shafty.
That's what I thought
for
too.
sure.
Sometimes you just need to get drunk.
But Drunk Shaft is a really good role player. I appreciated it. It was fun.
Yeah, that was a fun episode. It was just kind of like a do nothing episode. You know what I mean?
A little
Like,
RP
it was like
downtime.
we need some downtime. Yeah, exactly.
Braun's quite concerned about all your friends, Mia.
I know. Well, like, think about it. I'm like telling him that Samuel's our ally, but we stole his swords, and Shaft apparently kidnapped him or like held him for was like gonna hold him for ransom of this bounty. I don't think he is worried about Falzarin, other than that he's quiet and doesn't say anything.
Doesn't talk.
And then anything you say has this ominous undertone. I was like, oh, you mean the voice you get used to? He's like, no. I'm like, she's a Dendar worshiper. What the heck? I mean, you have followers too. Like, now that I know Dreg's involved and Hulsa and Kula and the Coven. Like, we didn't even get into the Coven, and he was already annoyed with Shikara.
Yeah, Shikara abruptly left the table
After Coven was mentioned.
It's a bit of a sore spot.
I didn't expect to have the solo at the end, but I told everyone they could listen to it. It wasn't, you can pretend like you don't know or whatever, but yeah, like Shaft running into Braun and how he met him, that's interesting. Did you come up with that, John, or like, how did that come about?
A long time ago.
Like a long time ago. And did you say it was like just one of my family members to Leland, or what? Like, how did that happen?
I wrote that sort of as the backstory. I had other plans in mind on how things would sort of work out with some of the Backshaft episodes, but I think the story sort of steered different ways.
By the way, the word backshaft, like, I'd be fine if you never said that again. Thanks.
Oh, well, now I'm going to say it all the time.
And did you say it would be Braun, my brother, type thing, or?
Yeah, I mean, we mentioned Braun before, right?
Well,
mentioned
I
your
didn't
brother's name
know.
before.
I was like, if it's off my backstory, it's either Braun or my dad, because my brother Adder's like 12 or something, 13.
Did you listen back to, what was it, 136?
I never listened back. I need to.
The beginning of 135, The Road is Long, was that backshaft with Braun's kidnapping.
So then the listener has known it's been him.
But, well, it was even before that, because an episode prior to that with Killian, Shaft saw the name in the book, Brightwood.
That's true. Yeah,
Back.
that's true.
Oh,
That's
hell,
right.
I don't even remember what episode that was, but that was a year and a half ago.
The little that Mia knows is that when we met, you were like, oh, Brightwood. And you were one of the people that admitted you'd heard of Brightwood.
Oh, I said I'd never heard of him, is what I said in the episode. I said, what'd you say your name was? And you said Brightwood. And I go, never heard of you.
Okay, well, Elena knew that was like fake. So.
Well, yeah.
So yeah, of course. But I believe that when so the Backshaft episodes were session 66, 71, 73, and then 135. So I believe it was 73 had Shaft seeing the name Brightwood on this bounty list and wanting to go for it, and Killian saying, "No, you can't handle that."
Yeah.
Part of ultimately what happened when we learned in 135, Killian setting Shaft up, knowing he would take the bait, so Killian could nab Braun from Shaft and get the bounty itself.
So we still haven't found Killian, right? You were asking about.
Not yet.
Yeah.
He's on the list.
Interesting. I really thought that Braun's perspective in our solo about he's just doing it for love was like really cute. I know that Braun might have been drunk, but
We need to go listen to that episode.
He said it quite a
if
few
you
times
haven't
in
listened to it, he
135.
basically says that
in the
Shaft is
Backshaft.
doing this for Nina. And like all of this is about Nina. The reason we're all together, the reason he's like still wanting to take out the Niyogis, like, because I said that we kind of have her essence.
We got her in a sack.
But, like, we're working with the paladins that put her in that thing, and, like, you know, like, it's all for love, is what Braun said.
Mm. Well, he was drunk too, by the way, remember?
Yeah, but it just...
Which I think you did a great job, Leland.
It tugged on Mia's heartstrings, and again, like, Mia knows Shaft has her back. Shaq has her baffed. But hearing that just humanized him a little bit again. I don't know. And I'm not mad at Shaft. It is what it is.
You're not. Mia's not joked that Shaft kidnapped her brother, because I thought that was gonna be a whole thing, but
I think at one point in time, I think it could have been.
I think I could bring it up and be snarky about it, but like, we all need each other right now, and so it's in the back burner for sure. Like, I think after everything I've been through with Shaft and seeing the whole Nina thing and your brother thing and, like, all the stuff, like, there's no way that you kidnapped him, like, I mean, I guess he would...
Maliciously?
Well, I was going to say, I guess he was a bounty. But I'm, like, knowing that you would end up being my friend, or, like, he was just some guy. He was a job. It wasn't personal.
It's a high-paying job. You Brightwoods have a lot of money.
Apparently, I don't have any of it, but I don't know. I don't think Mia would be mad. I just feel like we've been through too much to be upset about it. And Braun was able to sort of, like, shrug it off publicly, so I don't know. I guess we'll find out, listener.
I think Shaft and Braun had a little wagon connection.
well, you both got screwed over by Killian, quite
That's
honestly,
right.
You're getting screwed. What? All right. Well,
yeah, you both got the Shaft.
yeah, Falzern didn't have much to say at the bar. What have you thought of anything to say after re-listening, Bill? No questions.
Not really.
What more could Falzern possibly express other than casting his big old hand to slap
Big-
Shaft?
big I was like thinking,
What more could possibly be said?
I was thinking, why wouldn't he just have Denny float the heels of Shaft, and then his arm could be around him? But no, he's got to cast this like 6-level spell or something.
Hopefully we get a long rest.
Yeah, you're going up to get a long
Right.
rest, right?
And a feast. Don't let me
Hopefully.
forget.
I mean, how often do we actually get a long rest when we try to get a long rest?
And a
Just
feast.
carry me
Like
on your
50%
shoulder.
of the
Falzern.
time. I don't know what more you can want.
Every time.
I'm not sure that Shaft's really hiding much from Falzern.
Yeah, just
From
about
Falzern.
any of us is what I'm saying. It could have been about anything, but I do regret breaking character and saying, like, a lot has happened in the last few months, and it's talked about levels. I said, like, something about level 11 or something. Like, I probably shouldn't have broke character.
I think it was a good episode just to air some stuff out and get to know what's, a little pause before what comes next.
I definitely brought up 2 truths and a lie without having 2 truths and a lie ready. And Leland edited it out, but I waited a really long time, and he's like, "Oh, I'll go." Like, there was a really long pause.
It was actually perfect setup for Braun to try to sneak in that Shaft kidnapped him.
Yeah, like,
Yeah.
I hate your
Great
call.
setup for me.
I
I
love
thought
Hannah.
you were setting me up to be able to say those, right? I thought that's the plan, Leland, right? And that's why I sort of played it off and went, I don't know how to play. Shoot, you go first.
7 lies and a truth. It's like, what? I don't know. It just felt natural to bring up a drinking game, I guess, but then I didn't have anything to make into a game.
That was good. And now what?
Yeah, I was just going to say, like, what happens next? We needed a bit of decompression time, which the party got.
Yeah. We got rid of an NPC. 1 down.
Yeah, but we gained one, though, so it's like we're even now.
No.
We're breaking
Not my
even.
fault. I let one go.
That's true. We gained Braun. Although I don't know how strong he is. Like, maybe a good rest he'll wake up and have 7th
He's gotta
level
be at least
spells.
level 15 or 18. I
Yeah,
would
probably
guess.
20, right?
At least level 23 or something.
Setting up a whole temple? He's gotta be level 20. Come on.
Yeah.
He came to establish a foothold. He's not building the thing out of his bare hands.
Well, I can tell him about all the followers I have from the Paladins and
Oh, you should introduce him to what's his
I
face
forget
and
their names.
who's it?
who's it and what's his face. Oh, I forget their names.
Well, yeah. I mean, well, what is the party expecting to happen tomorrow? I mean, Samuel arrives tomorrow, right?
I guess we'll just go to the towers. The tower.
Nothing bad.
I imagine we'll meet with him, and Sally has an amulet, so she'll give it to
And
him.
he'll cast locate object, find his missing swords on you, his books.
We all I was gonna say we all agree that we found the books and we hide the swords.
Hide the swords. And then he will be mad because he won't have the cipher.
What
To
cipher?
help find the
Yeah.
armor. Like, so he needs the amulet, but he also needs the cipher. I mean, oh, Bill, you were being facetious. Sorry. Okay. I thought you were being goldfish again.
What cipher?
hard to
Slow
tell.
blinks
you're a
don't translate
great
to podcast.
role player.
Yeah. Listener, he was slow blinking like a white man jiffing at me.
Yeah. It's a GIF, by the way.
Jiff! I don't care.
Yeah. Yeah, no, we may have a solution for that.
Oh, gosh.
We talked
Okay.
about
Can
it
you explain?
on mic.
You're going to
didn't we?
drop the book behind the inn?
No,
Just
we
go
talked
behind
about
Tickly,
the swords.
drop the book.
Oh yeah.
No, the
What are you
yeah.
going to do with this cipher? I
Oh.
want to hear.
I don't.
Am I allowed to hear?
What's
How do you know we have a cipher?
We basically know you have the cipher.
We know.
I've never
playing coy.
I've never seen a cipher, never heard of a cipher, don't even
You've
know
got-
what a cipher is.
We've got a bunch of books. You guys are welcome to go through them if you want to.
Okay, so maybe he has a cipher. So if Samuel has a cipher, he gets the amulet, and he'll tell us where the missing piece of armor is, and then we'll head off into
Yes,
the mountains
I'm-
to our certain
I'm
doom.
just concerned
To
that
our
we
certain
don't
doom.
get our swords taken away from us.
At least he's going to die with his oozes, you know?
If they're in the bag of holding, he can't locate item.
I really
or
like
locate
the way you
object,
say
right?
holding.
He won't be able to... Holding?
Oh my goodness.
Leave her alone. Is that true though? If it's in a bag of holding, it locate object.
No,
wouldn't
it's in the
work?
bag of holding.
It's on a. Yeah, it's holding it in a different plane of existence.
I got you. Oh, okay. I love you, Emily. Sorry.
Yeah, that
It's a
makes sense, I
pool.
guess, because it's
You gotta pull it into your bag of holding.
You got a wolf in there too?
And a wolf.
And a dog.
A
You
wolf.
got a woof and a
A
dog.
wolf and a dog in the roof. And a pool it. All right. I've been
well,
away.
the way I see it, worst case Ontario.
Worst case Ontario. That was your whole joke, Bill?
That was it.
All right.
There was no follow up. I thought there was going to be legit.
I just wanted to say
follow up.
that. Yeah, I don't know. I'm a little concerned about how Samuel's arrival is going to play out, to be honest.
Because you have a cipher. We know you have it.
You can't prove that, but even if I did have a cipher, regardless of that whole situation, just like, I don't know, man. He seems dangerous, and we're giving him something to make him more dangerous.
Well, he's going to have everything he needs.
Yeah.
For global domination.
Do you think Leland would write a campaign where it all culminates to just a TPK from
Yes.
our allies?
100%
Wait,
I would.
I got to write that down. That's a
Yes.
great idea.
It's the longest con.
Yeah, the longest blue light special con of all time.
So what do we know? If Samuel comes back and he doesn't have all the stuff that he needs, what did he say he was going to do?
I don't know.
He didn't say.
Crank up the tower, right?
Oh,
yeah,
yes.
yeah.
Yes.
True.
Powered up.
And what else was he going to do?
Kill us.
No. Well, maybe, but he didn't specifically say
I think that was if we didn't find the amulet.
He's gonna.
He didn't give
He's
it.
got all the boats and everything coming over,
The flying
right?
ships, yep.
What is he going to do with them?
Attack the mountains?
Attack the mountains. So the only difference is he doesn't have the ability to find the gauntlets and
Chest plate.
chest plate.
Powering up the tower identifies or helps him find these items, So
Allegedly, although it hasn't yet.
He could power it up and then literally find that it's on your possession.
He has other pieces of armor already. I mean, he started out with one that he's always had, but then he has other pieces. He's only missing 2 pieces, and armor has more than 3 pieces to it.
Yeah.
He has the boots.
So he's found the boots with the tower, we can assume.
Sammy and Boots. All I'm saying is if he powers up the tower and we tell him or we don't have something and then he powers it up and finds it on our person.
I don't think the tower would find the cipher.
Like, how do we know?
Well, I mean, Samuel has indicated that he uses the towers to locate the pieces of the armor of Kalara itself. He hasn't mentioned anything else other than that, as far as their function goes.
And we don't know how precisely it pinpoints these things either.
Well, I think you can assume that it's not very precise because there have been more than just a single tower when he's got just the boots and he's missing he was, before you recovered it, missing the amulet. Although I don't know if your characters know, but obviously the amulet was recovered in the Phalarian forest as a result of using the towers there.
Right. And that's where Bryn stole it. Yeah.
Right. So there's the helm, the amulet, the gauntlets, the chest plate, and the boots. That's the full set.
For listeners out there, Bryn's backstory was that they stole the amulet off of Hank Applebee's, right? Then he came chasing us down, looking for the amulet. Prince Charmington was looking for it. Bryn kills him.
Prince Charmington III had it.
Had it. In the wagon
had it
with
in the
us.
wagon while we killed him, and we didn't get it off his body or something? Like, how did we not?
Believable.
We weren't looters back then.
No, yeah, you didn't pilfer through the belongings.
So it got pilfered by Darklings, which is how Hannah got it. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
Man, it's mind-boggling to think of that.
Love how it's all connected. And hate
I did too.
it.
I think it's great.
Well, we're going to find out what happens next with you, listener. We haven't played yet, so...
Can you imagine if we had have snagged the amulet
dude.
back then? Like, what would have happened?
Well,
Man.
he already told us what the amulet does. It's pretty freaking powerful.
But we wouldn't have known that Samuel was looking for it, and we would have walked in to him wearing it. One of us wouldn't have been wearing it. Pretty sure he would have recognized it.
Yeah.
But maybe we could have killed Izzy with it earlier or something.
I mean, I don't believe that there has been any part throughout the Aspara journey where the party really wanted to actually kill Isabella.
No,
I might have pretended a little bit,
no.
but
I
you've
think Mia
never
has.
wanted to really
I still want
kill
to.
Izzy. No. Mia might say that to herself every time before she goes to bed every night.
She
but
does.
Subconsciously, she's like in love with Izzy.
She memorizes, recites the list of people that she wants to kill.
Yeah.
That's very different than how Mia started with this party, but maybe. She's turning into Bryn.
Yeah, but the first 1,000 names on the list is just Nyogi.
Yeah.
And then you get to
Nyogi number 1. Nyogi. 99 Nyogis on the wall.
You shatter one down, you pass it
Shatter one
around.
down,
98
slow it
Nyogi on the
around,
wall.
98 Nyogis and enemies on the wall.
Well, I'm excited to see Sammy again.
I'm not.
Sammy should be happy for it. We've done everything he asked us to do.
You have. As far as you know, you got the amulet. You delivered on what he set you out to. You accomplished a task.
We could have a shopping episode.
Faster than what he expected, too.
Yeah.
That's right.
We got
Turned it right in.
Yeah.
payment. Let's spend it. Let's go crazy.
Yeah, we're at least going to have some funds injected into our bank accounts, so that's good.
Yeah, what was the agreement?
Platinums.
We already got it.
There
We got
was
1,000
no
gold
there was
pieces.
no there was no agreement. It was different for each of you. Shakara was in it for the eyes. Mia was in it to kill the Nyogi. Falzner was in it because he's Falzner, and Shaft was the one that was in it for money.
Yeah, I can't remember.
So there was no amount. You're just in the employment of Samuel Coulter.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll have to bring that up when we talk.
Yeah, you do that. We'll see how it goes.
We'll see how where the swords are.
We'll see where the swords lie.
I want to go to like a sorcerer so that I can be flying all the time and my wings are not only a minute a day.
Sometimes all you need is a minute a day.
Oh, all right.
A lot can happen in a minute.
Anything else we want to talk about with these three? Anything we want to talk about before we get off here from just anything perspective? IPCon.
Yes.
Sign up for IPCon and get your free T-shirt if you do it before
That's right.
when? Before
I believe August 1st,
August.
right?
August 1st.
Yeah.
So go to the website, check it out, see the place. It's pretty awesome.
Indoor pool, double jacuzzis. Hannah will be there. Get in the tub with
Hannah's
Hannah.
gonna be there.
Food provided. Games brought.
Mm-hmm.
Fun will be had.
By some.
Damn it.
Now I want to hire an actress
Or
named
else.
Hannah. just to come sit in the hot tub.
Role-playing Hannah might happen. Wait,
But it
what?
is in Hocking Hills, so you don't know what you're going to get. Come on, boys! Get in the hot tub!
Holding. It's a hot tub of holding.
It can hold all you boys.
It's a hot tub of holding.
I'll be in the other hot tub.
You're actually going to get in it this time?
We'll see about it.
With Big B's hand. Yeah.
Big B, I just met him.
And his magic missile. Okay, alright, I'm done.
All right, let's wrap it up. I've been Shaft and John.
I've been Emily and Shakara.
I'm Elena. I play Mia.
I've been Bill and Falzarin.
And I'm Leland Steele. Happy chasing.
Semi-chasing.
Three, two, one.
Okay, Emily
Sounded
was
pretty good.
like half a minute.
I got
behind.
distracted and almost forgot to clap.
Have you already been in the mead?
This is the first
That's
time
some
ever.
short-term memory.
1, 2, buckle my shoe. Oh, 3.
What was I doing?